Mori is a young, unpleasant, and seemingly worthless orphan who was adopted by an old man who raised him in the mountains while teaching him a rare and special martial art called renewal taekwondo. One day, the old man told Mori it was time to leave the mountains, join a school in the city, focus on studying, and make some friends. Though Mori was devastated and couldn't hold back his tears. Deep down, he knew his grandfather just wanted an excuse to leave and never return. Meanwhile, on a tranquil beach, three men were enjoying massages in a luxurious setting when one of them, a government worker named Park, made a call about a bribe they had sent to the National Assembly. The caller offered money, but the men dismissed it, revealing they had bigger plans to tarnish the reputation of the country's prime minister. As they schemed, a sudden gust of wind blew through and the once clear sky grew dark. Suddenly, something enormous fell from the sky and crushed them. Far away, in an office, a man with a tattoo of a red cross on his hand made a crushing motion with his fist and told his secretary they were running out of time, urging immediate action. Later, helicopters arrived at the beach to investigate the incident, only to find a massive hand-shaped imprint in the sand, marked with the same cross as the one on the man's hand. The focus shifts back to Mori, who wakes up from a vivid dream about the day his grandfather left him. Staring at a photo of the two of them, he's flooded with memories, but his reflection is cut short when he realizes he's late for an important event. Frustrated for oversleeping, he grabs his bicycle and rushes out, all while feeling the pressure of the day ahead. On the news, there's excitement in the air as an announcement reveals that the martial arts tournament, known as the God of High School, is officially kicking off. Students from across the country are eager to compete, and the city preliminaries are being held at a massive arena that has everyone buzzing. Elsewhere, a young man steps outside to take out the trash and, checking his wallet, realizes he doesn't have enough money to cover his needs. It's clear he'll have to pick up extra shifts to make ends meet. Meanwhile, a girl trying to find her way to the tournament stops some martial artists who didn't qualify and asks for direction. They help her out, and she becomes distracted, admiring one of the men's muscular build before hurrying off. Mori, pedaling quickly toward the tournament, is distracted by thoughts of lunch when a motorcycle speeds past him, nearly colliding with his bike. He soon notices the rider had snatched an old lady's purse and, seeing the despair on her face, he feels compelled to help. Without hesitation, he changes direction and begins chasing the thief, his determination clear. Yow. What follows is a high-stakes chase as the thief races ahead on his motorcycle while Mori, relying on his skills, expertly maneuvers through the streets on his bicycle. During the chaos, he accidentally knocks over the girl from earlier, who's still distracted by thoughts of the martial artists. Furious that her glasses are broken, she hurls her sword at Mori and demands he stop. But when he explains he's chasing a thief, her anger subsides and she decides to help him instead. With the girl now on his bike, the two chase after the thief, their focus unwavering. Despite the thief's efforts to lose them, Mori and the girl remain persistent, refusing to give up. The girl leaps from the bike to strike the thief with her sword, but her aim is off and she ends up hitting a street sign instead. At that moment, the young man from the store steps in, delivering a single, devastating punch that stops the thief in his tracks. Both Mori and the girl are amazed by his strength. Later, the three of them find themselves in the same dressing room as they prepare for the martial arts tournament. The girl, Yumira, demands Mori pay for her broken glasses, but he insists it's the thief's fault. Despite their bickering, Mori takes a moment to thank her and the young man for their help and introduces himself as Jin Mori, while the young man reveals his name is Han Dewi. The tournament announcer begins explaining the rules, which allow any fighting style or weapon with no time limits. Participants can win by knocking out their opponents or making them surrender, while the bracelets they wear monitor their vitals, injecting a healing serum if anyone sustains serious injuries. The announcer announces the ultimate prize. The winner will have any wish granted by the organization, sparking excitement among the fighters. With all participants ready, the announcer declares the tournament's start with an unexpected twist. It begins as a chaotic battle royale. The arena erupts as fighters scramble to take out weaker opponents, each displaying their unique fighting styles and abilities. Mori quickly proves to be a force to be reckoned with, effortlessly taking down multiple challengers. Amid the chaos, a fighter named Kang Man-suk enters the ring. A blue-haired woman in the audience mentions he's the favorite to win, and Kang wastes no time showing why, crushing his opponents with ease and leaving the crowd in awe. Showcasing his speed even without using his arms, Han expressed disappointment at the fighter's weakness and stated his preference for going back to sleep in his prison cell. Mira Yu stepped up to challenge Kang Man-suk, but her blows didn't do much damage, although she proved to be a formidable opponent during the fight. Kang made inappropriate comments about her beauty and asked her out, to which she responded with disgust. Behind Kang, we saw Mori pulling down his pants, revealing animal print underwear. This surprised Kang, who responded by delivering a powerful kick to Mori's chest, sending him flying. Han noticed that when Kang kicked him, Mori took the opportunity to injure Kang's foot with his arm. Mori then stood up and told Kang that if he used all his strength, he would do the same. They both leaped to attack each other. Meanwhile, officials from the United States government grew concerned upon seeing images of the events that took place on the island. A man with a scar on his forehead entered the room, causing everyone to point their weapons at him. The officials asked about his identity, and he introduced himself as Park Mujin, explaining that he worked for the Korean government. The first round of the tournament came to an end. Mira Yu had to go home, and Mori and Han followed, as they were all heading in the same direction. Their houses were along the same route. Mori asked Mira why she had hit him, which led to the revelation of what had happened during the fight between Mori and Kang Man-sok. Mira remembered that when she had just attacked Kang, she accidentally twisted Mori's neck. She explained that it was not intentional. She had confused him because she wasn't wearing her glasses. Classic Velma moment. However, she mentioned that they were able to heal him using nanomachines that had been injected into all the fighters. These nanomachines could repair all the damage incurred during the fights, leaving Han impressed by the organization's advanced technology. Later, Mori revealed that he was participating in the tournament because he wanted to face many opponents and become stronger. He then asked Han why he was taking part, and Han responded that it was for the money. Bag secured. Finally, Mira mentioned that she was fighting to reclaim her family's martial arts academy. Mori teased her, wondering how people could easily snatch her sword from her, to which she responded that it was because she had no glasses on. Mori took out her sword without her noticing, and she asked for it back. However, as she reached for the sword, it slipped from her grasp and fell into the river. Mori apologized and said he would retrieve it, but she slapped him and asked him to disappear from her. That was not a trust fall. It was nighttime, and Mira was searching in the water for her sword. She heard her father's voice reminding her never to let their moonlight sword style fade away. She had a childhood memory of her father giving her the sword and telling her to find a strong successor for the academy. As she grew up, while other girls enjoyed typical girly activities, she only had time for training and fulfilling her father's wishes. Back in the present, her phone's flashlight suddenly went out, leaving her in darkness. Mori appeared with a flashlight to help her search for the sword. Certified Golden Retriever energy. As they continued their search, she apologized for slapping him. When he had taken the sword, she had felt very sad since it was the only memento of her father. Suddenly, Han appeared with bright lights to assist them in finding the sword. The next day, a new round of fights was about to begin, and whoever won would be able to participate in the National God of High School tournament. They introduced a fighter named Go Gamdo, who practiced the Tai Chi style. The three of them waited their turn in the locker room. Mori was asleep when Kang Man-seok approached him and threatened to harm him, even though Mori was still asleep. However, Go Gamdo stepped in and told Kang to leave him alone. Despite this, Kang kicked Go in the face, but Mori quickly woke up and supported Go's back to protect him. The first match was between Yu Mira and Ma Mission, and with just one move, Mira knocked her out. After that, the fights began, and Mori easily won his match. Afterward, they watched the other participants fight on TV, and Han also defeated his opponent. Seeing this, Mori expressed his desire to fight them. Suddenly, Go Gamdo appeared to thank Mori for intervening when Kang attacked him earlier. He mentioned that he shouldn't have let his guard down. However, as he was saying this, the announcer called the fighters for the next match. Mori warned Go to be careful since his opponent was Kang Man-seok. Go told Mori that he didn't fear Kang, but he was concerned about losing the battle of wills. The announcer declared that the fight would not end until one of them became unconscious or surrendered. He also mentioned that if someone left the ring for more than 20 seconds, they would be disqualified, and they couldn't rely on nanomachines to heal their injuries. Bong Chim-na had told Kang to release his arms and stay true to the path of a real martial artist. The fight began, and Go Gamdo managed to land many punches on Kang, impressing Mori and Mira Yu with his technique. Then, he skillfully threw Kang into the audience, leaving everyone astonished. The audience reaction looked like one of those guy-blinking memes. However, Kang returned to the ring slowly, seemingly undamaged by Go's punches. Kang then freed one of his arms and began repeatedly striking Go. However, it became clear that Kang's fighting style allowed for anything, including eye gouges and low blows, because man's playing on veteran difficulty. At this point, Go believed that his Tai Chi style was about finding peace and not getting angry. He managed to land a powerful blow called the Yin-Yang Balance Strike on Kang, but Kang, effectively, blocked it. Kang then demanded that Go surrender by making him apologize and started slapping him to humiliate him. However, Go refused to give in. Kang continued to step on his face and then tried to tear Go's arms from his body, but just as he was doing so, Mori intervened and began hitting Kang because he despised his dirty fighting style. The tournament organizers surrounded Mori and informed him that he couldn't interfere in the fight that way. Kang got back on his feet and claimed that he was no longer the same. A black aura emanated from Kang, and he removed his heavy pants. We caught a glimpse of his past when he was weak and had asked his mentor to teach him techniques, but he called him a failure. Returning to the present, Kong attacked Mori with a powerful move. The organizers moved to intervene, but Mori jumped and kicked Kong several times. He kicked Kong so many times that Kong fell unconscious. Suddenly, Mujin, the man with a scar on his forehead, appeared and used his power to throw Mori to the ground. Over the microphone, he announced that he was the head of the tournament administration and that severe punishment would be imposed on Mori. However, as they were taking him away, he heard the crowd praising and shouting his name. Following that, we observe a group of people dressed in religious robes within a cult-like setting. They are listening to the tournament's events on the radio, and one of them mentions that they will fulfill God's will, believing that by doing so, they will have their wishes granted. Back at the arena, the organizers have gathered, and the woman with blue hair mentions that Go is severely injured, which means he is eliminated from the tournament. Then we see Kong, who is quite scared of what Mori did to him. The woman comments that she doesn't believe Kong will fight again. We see Mori working out in his room while the organizers are debating whether they should disqualify him. The man with a scar on his forehead looks at Mori's record and is surprised to see that Mori's grandfather is Heijin. After that, the fights began. Mira faced off against a woman named Miseon, who happened to be the United States wrestling champion. Miseon suggested that Mira should choose a different weapon since her wooden sword wouldn't stand a chance. She started the fight strong, attacking Mira with her aggressive moves. Miseon explained that she had come from America to win the tournament, as the winner could have any wish granted. Mira attempted to fight back with her sword, but Miseon's strength seemed as tough as iron, making her attacks ineffective. Mira's sword ended up falling far away, and Miseon taunted her, claiming that she had no chance of winning. This infuriated Mira, and she unleashed a power called the Moonlight Sword Style, which created a large wound on Miseon's chest. Even without her sword, Miseon fell to the ground, and Mira was declared the winner. Meanwhile, Mori was in the room celebrating Mira's victory. However, Mujin entered and informed Mori that they had decided on his punishment. He told Mori that he could rejoin the tournament if he could defeat the man with green hair. But Mori insisted on fighting the blonde man instead. Recalling a humiliating incident from school, he threw a tantrum on the floor expressing his strong desire to fight the blonde man. The man with glasses claimed that he was stronger than the blonde man and had been chosen for that reason. To prove his strength, he punched Mori in the face. Mori excitedly got up, realizing that the man was stronger than he had thought. The man with a scar then announced that the fight would take place the next day. Mira walked alongside Dawi, still upset with Mori for intervening in the fight. She was concerned that this might lead to Mori's disqualification from the tournament. However, Dawi described the incident as incredible and believed that Mori's strength was extraordinary. Suddenly, Mori appeared and informed them about his upcoming fight against the man with green hair and glasses. He also offered them some fruits given to him by the scarred man earlier, mentioning that they would restore their energy. Mira was angry at him for being so reckless, but Mori told them about his family, saying that they encouraged him to do what he wanted. It was becoming evident that the scarred man and the woman with blue hair were plotting something. Afterward, Mori was at home, eating a peach and preparing his bed to sleep. Suddenly, he experienced chest pain and collapsed, coughing up blood. In another location, the man with a scar explained that he had done this to test if Mori was a true fighter and to see if he was as strong as his grandfather. Next, we find Dewi visiting a friend in the hospital who is suffering from a severe illness. It's revealed that Dewi is participating in the tournament to earn money to help his friend. His friend mentions that the doctors will try a new and expensive medicine, and his sister has taken on extra work to cover the treatment costs. She's become so busy that she hardly has time to sleep and feels guilty for being a burden to both his friend and his sister. Yoes. Daiwi reassures his friend not to worry and to focus on getting better. He tells him about a boy he met who reminded him of him, and they start joking and having a good time together. Later, we see Daiwi working as a trash collector, where he encounters some bullies who taunt him. Having heard about his friend's dire condition, one of them hits him with a can, dirtying his shirt, but Daiwi picks it up, and the bullies continue to mock him. Back at the arena, Daiwi was preparing to fight in the tournament against a boy who was always seen with a book. The boy claimed to have learned everything from books, including how to win in battle. As the fight began, the boy could predict Daiwi's movements because he had studied all the patterns of karate. He mentioned that if he practiced and learned all the movements, it would be impossible for him to lose. That's why he participated in the tournament, to prove his theory correct. The boy attacked Daiwi with a metal bat, but Daiwi managed to dodge the blows. The boy tried to attack again but slipped and fell. Surprisingly, Daiwi didn't take advantage of the situation. Instead, he offered the boy a hand to help him up. The boy was surprised that Daiwi didn't exploit the moment and asked why. Daiwi explained that it would be cowardly to attack a downed opponent. The boy got up and used a power called 12 Spears, which involved delivering 12 simultaneous strikes, severely injuring Daiwi. The boy told him that these blows had pierced his bones and reached his organs, making it pointless for Daiwi to get up and continue fighting. However, Daiwi recalled his friend's struggle in the hospital, who had expressed a strong desire to survive his illness. We return to the present, and because of this, Dawi knew he couldn't afford to lose. so despite his injuries, he got up and continued to fight. The boy launched an attack with 72 spears, but Doi countered the boy's onslaught with a move called Black Tortoise. He followed it up with an attack called Vermilion Bird, creating a whirlwind that blinded the boy. Finally, he unleashed White Tiger, the third attack, landing multiple blows on the boy, who was left helpless. The boy couldn't believe that his theory had been completely dismantled. Unable to continue with his fourth stance, the boy collapsed and was eliminated from the tournament. Next, they announced the fight between the commissioner with green hair and Mori. However, Mori was unconscious at his house, and suddenly something inside his body awakened him. Later, as they waited for him to arrive at the fight, everyone thought he wouldn't show up, but then he arrived running and jumped into the ring, although he seemed a bit tired and didn't know why his body was burning so intensely. Upon seeing him, the green-haired commissioner taunted him, suggesting that he might have been scared to face him. The announcer explained the rules, stating that since it was an uneven match, if Mori knocked his opponent down once, he would win. The fight began, and in the blink of an eye, Mori swiftly took the commissioner's glasses off and knocked him down with minimal effort. Before the guy could react, the announcer was surprised and shouted that the match was over, leaving the audience upset because it had ended so quickly. Suddenly, the guy became enraged and rushed to attack Mori, but Mori evaded the attack and delivered a kick that sent him flying. The audience fell silent because it was clear that Mori possessed incredible strength. Afterward, a giant monster or god emerged. With this, the part 1 of the story ends. Subscribe to get notified for the part 2.